Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Tony and the channel is Tony Talks Cards. I've got 3 cards for you today to show. These 3 I picked up in the last couple months and I'm really excited about them. They're new issues for me, new types of cards, and I think new players. I don't think I even have any of these players in my collection yet. And if you know me and seen my videos and seen what's behind me, especially on the top of the video screen, you can probably guess they are Chicago Cubs players. So there's 3 players. One of them is an oversized card. I've never had oversized cards in my collection. I know a lot of you guys are getting into and are showing off unbelievable, unreal, like really cool pre-war oversized stuff. So I got my first one of those. The second one's a normal sized card, though it was issued pre-war slightly, I think, in 1941. And the third card is not really a card, it's a food issue. It's off the back of a cereal box. And the card, the normal size card and the oversized card, I got from the recent Robert Edward auction in May. And the quote unquote card, the back of the cereal box card, I got off of eBay just around the same time. And the back to cereal box card features one of the players on the other card I got from REA. So kind of picked them up all around the same time. Again, didn't have any of these guys in my collection. Had heard of one of the guys' names, but not the other 2. So I picked up some knowledge about them, did some research. I want to show you what I've learned about the 2 players. 2 of the 3 you probably haven't heard of, as well as the first player you will have known probably, and he's a Hall of Famer for the Cubs. But again, want to show off some of these cards. Haven't shown them off yet. New thing for me, new venture. It could be a slippery slope, rabbit hole going down the pre-war oversize, but given these guys were Cubs players, solid cards, good shape, and had some history behind them around what these guys did. And I could research some of their really interesting and good notable seasons for the Cubs, made it all worthwhile. So I will turn the camera around and show you the 3 cards, the 3 players I picked up, and we'll talk more about them and their stories. So stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Happy to turn this camera around and show you the 3 players cards, quote unquote, that I picked up from the pre-war era. They're all Chicago Cubs, all new things to me, types of cards and sets I haven't owned before. But looking forward and excited to show you what I've got. And yeah, just I love getting into this different stuff. It's not the kind of Topps, Fleer, Donruss, Bowman that we so often remember, at least I did, when I was younger flipping through price guides. So the first card I'm going to show you is an actual card, probably the only card of the 3 things I'm going to show here. It is a 1941 double play of Bill Lee and Phil Cavarretta, both of the Chicago Cubs. Pick this up, plus the thing I'll show at the very end, from the recent REA auction in May. I'd never heard of or seen the double play series, but this was up for auction. There were 2 Cubs on it, and Cubs from the pre-war, partially post-war era, I didn't really know a lot about. So I wanted to research them and did some of that research to show you all here what we've got. So this one did grade a 6. Again, it's older, but man, this is really a cool card and gave me some insight into these players. And I wanted to appreciate them a lot more, what they did, what they added to their team when they played. And so hopefully you enjoy that too. So we'll start with Bill Lee. He played in the 1930s and 40s for the Cubs. I'll put that maybe right here, at least as I tell the story. So his nickname was Big Bill Lee. He was born in a small town in Louisiana and also died in that same small town. He was a top prospect of the Cardinals in the early 30s, but was traded to the Cubs and then played for the Cubs from 1934 to 1947. He ended his career with the Phillies and Boston Braves as well, but mostly with the Cubs. He had 169 wins and 157 losses, with most of them coming with the Cubs, and 106 of those wins came in those first 6 years. In 4 of the first 6 years he played, he'd won 18 games or more. That's pretty impressive. 1938 was arguably his best year. He had a 22-9 record with an 8.0 WAR, and all for the Cubs, of course. He had a 2.66 ERA and 19 complete games in 1938. In 35 and 38, he pitched in the World Series for the Cubs against the Tigers and then the Yankees in 1938. In the 38 series, he pitched in 2 games against the Yankees, gave up only 3 earned runs, but went 0 for 2. He was the NL wins and ERA leader in 1938. He was also on the NL All-Star team twice with the Cubs in 38 and 39. From 40 to 47, his game started to drop pretty dramatically and had more losing seasons than winning ones before his last year in the majors in 1947. He had trouble with his eyesight later in his career, and post-career needed surgery to repair his vision, so that may have been part of it too. He ended his career with 998 strikeouts, just too short of 1,000. This is a double play, 1941 double play. I want to show that again on the label here. Double play only came out with a set, I believe, in 1941 in this year. They were produced by a company called Gum Products, a company out of Cambridge, Massachusetts, only set to be issued by this company. And based on the year it was issued, 1941, and that was literally the end of the pre-war period, and with World War II coming, that may have added to why they didn't continue adding sets of ball players. In this set, there are 75 cards, and each card having 2 players on each, so 150 subjects, I believe is correct. And Joe DiMaggio and Ted Williams have cards in this set as well. So a little bit about Bill Lee there, pitcher for the 30s and 40s from the Chicago Cubs. Now, before I go to Mr. Phil Cavaretta, I want to put this aside just for a second. Whoops, that was bound to happen. The second item I picked up is a Bill Lee item too, so let's talk about that. This is a Wheaties panel. Look at that. Wheaties with milk or cream and fruit, breakfast of champions. This is Chicago Cubs player Bill Lee, pitcher. I love it said follow through for stops. And it gives a little bit of a background on the pitching position, how a pitch is delivered, your footwork, your legs, setting yourself up for bunts and liners, and just a lot of cool graphics. And again, I'm also a Bears fan, so seeing the kind of blue and orange is kind of a Bears, theme as well, but certainly the Cubs had blue as well. This came out, I believe, when I picked this up off eBay, it said 38 or 39. And again, Bill Lee's best year was 1938, so maybe they were capitalizing on him, I think being the wins and NL wins and ERA leader in 38 to put him on a Wheaties panel here. So there he is there. And bottom here, it says number 4 in a series of 9 personal pointers to improve your batting and pitching. Major league stars including Lefty Gomez, Hank Greenberg, Archie Vaughn, and others available now on Wheaties packages. Get all 9 at your grocery store. Learn baseball the champion's way. So I picked this up after I picked up this card at the REA auction. So it's kind of a cool thing to kind of have them together. You see Bill Lee's face on both. Yeah, it looks similar. And again, for a guy that's he's not in the Cubs Hall of Fame, I don't believe. He's not in the Hall of Fame, Major League, obviously, as well. But for a guy who had a really big impact in those kind of depression pre-war years for the Cubs and was a part of their 35 and 38 World Series teams, I think this is maybe $10, $15, before shipping. Just a cool display piece. A lot of you guys are out there showing off some big oversized pre-war items, and this having a Cub connection, kind of the Cubs/Bears colors, was a win for me. So that is my second item I picked up as well. So I will put that back here, but maybe I won't, maybe it's going to slip, but either way, let's talk about the second guy on this, Phil Cavaretta. So Phil Cavaretta had an extremely long career. He played first base and outfield for the Cubs mostly from 34 to 1955, so pre-war all the way to post-war. The last 2 years were with the White Sox. He was 17 when he came to the big leagues. He had 1,977 hits, a 293 batting average, and 920 RBI. He was the NL MVP in 1945, that last kind of war year of 45. He hit 355 in that year, led the league in hitting, and led the Cubs to the pennant. His best 2 hitting years were 44 and 45, and over those 2 years, he had 374 hits. So definitely a guy you would have known being in Chicago, being a Cubs fan in the mid-40s. He also managed the Cubs from 51 to 53, succeeding Frankie Frisch, and was a player manager even though, despite all that, he didn't break 500, and the Cubs finished no better than 5th in those 3 years. In 1953, he surpassed the then all-time Cubs games played record previously held by Stan Hack, who I previously shown on a video in the past. Ernie Banks then broke Phil Cavaretta's record for games played as a Cub later in Banks's career. Now, one thing I found interesting on, I think, Major League Baseball research, I think it was, Phil Cavaretta was, at least it said this, was the last living player to have played against Babe Ruth in a Major League Baseball game. He did so in May of 1935, his second year in the league, when Ruth was part of the Boston Braves in 1935. Phil Cavaretta died in 2010. He lived to be 94. He is part of the Cubs Team Hall of Fame, but like I said, Bill Lee is not. But yeah, this is my example of Phil Cavaretta. This was an earlier part of his career, but he came up when he was 17, played 21, 22 years and then managed. So by the time he quit and was a manager, he'd have definitely had more than half of his years in Chicago in Major League Baseball. So really interesting there. And this one, it points out his recent statistics, when he was born, throws, height, weight, and what he batted that year. So yeah, a little more about Phil Cavaretta there too. But the third item I want to show is really, I guess it's a card, it's an exhibit, but again, I picked this up at the REA auction back in May as well. And let me just go, I'm taking some notes on things I want to talk about here. This is a 1928 exhibits Leo Hartnett, better known as Charles Leo Gabby Hartnett. Look at that. No gear on per se, but has the catcher's mitt, the big CUBS, the big Cubs on his jersey. He's smiling, looking right at the camera, hat kind of cocked a little bit to the side there. But love this image. It's my first graded exhibit, an exhibit from the 1920s. I have some from the 50s. I love it. I love this visual. Has Leo at the bottom, Chicago, NL, exhibit, supply company Chicago, made in USA. Not sure where the one came from, but for me, for a card or an item, an image that's almost 100 years old, I will display this all day long. So let's talk about Gabby Hartnett. He was a catcher with the Cubs. He played catcher from 1922 to 1941, all with the Cubs, except for the last year with the Giants. He had a WAR of 55. He played in just shy of 2,000 games and amassed 1,912 hits, 236 home runs, and 1,179 RBI. His highest home run year was 1930, where he had 37 home runs and 122 RBI. He had 12 seasons with double-digit home runs, lifetime batting average of 297, and he hit 339 in his best season in 1930. He was the MVP of the NL in 1935, and that's the same year that he and Bill Lee would have been part of the team, the Cubs, that lost the Tigers in that year's World Series. In 1930, though, the Cubs won 90 games and finished second in the NL. Joe McCarthy managed that season. 1930 was also the year that Gabby's teammate Hack Wilson hit an amazing 56 home runs and had 191 RBI. Hartnett was behind the plate when Babe Ruth allegedly called his shot in 1932. He was also behind the plate when Carl Hubble amassed his famous strikeout feat in the 1934 All-Star Game. But the greatest moment of his career may have come later in 1938 when he hit a game-winning home run in the bottom of the ninth to put the Cubs in first place with just a few days left in the 1938 season. The event was nicknamed the Homer and the Gloman, although the Cubs would lose later in the World Series to the Yankees. He also caught Grover Cleveland Alexander's 300th win in 1924, which is interesting. He was inducted into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame in 1955. At the time of his retirement in 1941, he had career records for catchers in home runs, RBI, doubles, and most games played as a catcher. Prior to Johnny Bench, Gabby was thought to have been the best catcher in the National League in history. I did see a note that his nickname was Old Tomato Face. I wanted to research that more, but didn't get to it. Maybe he had a reddish expression when he smiled or was laughing. I'm not sure, but Old Tomato Face sure stuck out in my research. He was born in 1900, lived to be 72, and it looks like he actually passed away on his birthday in 1972. So that is my 1928 exhibits Leo Gabby Hartnett with the Cubs. Hall of Famer. Love that pickup. So those are my three things I wanted to show. We got the Gabby Hartnett. You've got the double play. I'm going to move these out of the way a little bit. The Hartnett, I'll put that down. The 41 double play. and the really cool Wheaties box cardboard there. So look at that. Breakfast of Champions. Perfect. So, hey, thanks all for sticking with me. Thanks. This has been a little bit longer of a video showing off these cards, but I want to get to them. They're really cool things. I will cherish these and keep these in my collection forever. These are Cubs items I love and care about, and I've loved just doing the research on these items too, and inspired by a lot of you guys who've shown plenty of oversized pre-war items as well. And like others have said before me, these were not that expensive. This may have been $15-ish. The REA auction items were clearly a bit more with how auctions work, but for those two cards, I was happy to not invest, but pay for them and keep them in my collection. So cool. Well, thanks guys for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.